This is Gir National Park in the western part of India. There are over 400 lions here, 500 leopards, and a host of other wild animals. All looked after by a dedicated wildlife management team. Last year, the team undertook over 600 animal rescues, almost 2 incidents a day. There is no busier wildlife rescue team in the world. Each day brings new, sometimes highly dangerous challenges. But there's something that makes this park unique. The forest guards darting the lions, confronting the leopards, wrestling with pythons, and nursing a great creche of baby animals are winning. I've only been in Gir a few hours, and almost immediately we're caught up in a rescue operation. As we rush along, I find myself sitting next to Rasila Vada, who's in charge of all the rescue operations. It's not an exaggeration to say Rasila is one of the most extraordinary women I've ever met in my life. I soon discover that Rasila and her team are on the trail of an injured lion cub. Exactly what the injury is and how sick the cub may be is not clear right now. As we drive through villages and mango orchards, it's hard to believe we're in the midst of lion territory. But that is how it is with the Asiatic lion. They've lived for centuries in the midst of human populations.
It seems astonishing to me that Rasila and her team are looking for a sick lion cub here. This is a mango plantation. We've just driven through a village just over there, and yet there's a lion cub here?
I try to follow the rescue team as they plunge into the mango orchard, but Rasila instructs me to keep my distance.
Go back.
Injured adult lions are often darted and sedated, but Rasila quickly realises this particular cub is too small to be darted, so she decides to capture it in a net. It may be a cub, but the team still need to be careful. The feisty little lion doesn't realise the team are only trying to help, and it's ready to fight every inch of the way. It's hard to see the cub hidden away deep inside the undergrowth, but it's easy enough to hear it. But there is something here potentially far more dangerous than the cub. Lions live in groups, a pride, and it's possible the cub's mother and the whole of the rest of the family are close by. There's a real possibility they could come out and attack the rescue team. There's no time to be lost. It's obvious Rasila is a highly efficient and very effective leader. She fires instructions to her team, and soon the cub has been captured. The net is deployed, and the team bring the protesting animal out into the open. The little cub is quickly taken to the rescue vehicle. There hasn't been time to do a full examination in the field, and the team need to get out as fast as possible, just in case the rest of the lion pride make an appearance. What is clear is that the cub has a very nasty wound. And despite its spirited growling, is looking pretty thin and poorly. They need to get to the rescue centre and do a proper veterinary examination to work out what's best for this little lion.
There is a time constraint because it's got to be brought back here to join up with the rest of the pride, so they'll be as quick as they possibly can.
This is the Gir Rescue Centre, Rasila's base, from which she coordinates all the rescue operations. The cub is transferred to the squeeze cage, so Dr. Kamani, the vet who's attached to the rescue centre, can examine the injury.
So can you tell us what you're going to have to do and what's actually wrong with the little lion cub?
This lion cub is 5 to 6 months old and it was caught by some other animal, so it's having a wound, a septic wound on the right ear. Right now it's just in the stress, so we kept it calm. We have to wait, just calm down and then we will treat.
Because it looks very thin too. Do you think, or the condition is not very good?
Somewhat dehydrated.
Oh, okay.
Next morning, once the cub has recovered from its ordeal, Rasila brings it out again for Dr. Kamani to begin its treatment. She tries to soothe the cub as Dr. Kamani and his assistant clean up the wound.
So it looks like it's good news. The little cub's ear has been treated, the maggots have been taken out, and he should make more or less a full recovery. One very important thing, it was essential that the cub wasn't anaesthetised. It's very dangerous to anaesthetise a small animal. Getting the dosage right is really tough. He's very lucky to have this sort of treatment. In the wild, who knows what would have happened.
Over the next week or so, Rasila will be in constant attendance as her cub starts to recover. Meanwhile, another call has come in.
Hello?
A leopard has been found in a village, actually inside a house, and the situation is becoming increasingly serious. India is famous for its tigers, but it comes as a surprise to many people when they discover there are also lions in India. But not many. In fact, the entire world population of the Asiatic lion is here in Gir National Park.
So this is what Gir is famous for, the Asiatic lions. There's only probably 400 to 500 of these lions on Earth, and they're all here in Gir. They're subtly different from their African cousins. These lions are a bit smaller generally. They have much less hair around the mane, but they make up for that by having more hair at the tip of their tail. They behave very differently too. A pride is much smaller with Asiatic lions, and they don't socialise so much. The males will stay apart from the females most of the time. You might wonder, why are there 3 males together? Why don't they fight? These are probably 3 brothers, a coalition, and they work together to defend the females against any other males. In the heat of the day, they'll rest under a tree in the shade, and only when it cools down a bit will they all get up and go hunting.
There was a time when the Asiatic lion roamed over vast areas of Asia. But towards the end of the 19th century, due to intense hunting, numbers had crashed. Some reports suggest there were barely a dozen of these magnificent animals left in the jungles of Gir. Gir was given national park status in 1975 by the Indian government, and since then there's been a marked turn of fortune for the Asiatic lion. But it's not been an easy journey, and a large amount of credit for this is due to the care provided to each and every lion by the wildlife management and rescue teams, who played a crucial role in saving the lives of many precious lions over the years. The Lion Queen's experiment started almost by accident in 2007, when the West Indian state of Gujarat decided to employ a handful of women in what's generally reckoned to be one of the toughest government departments of them all, forestry.
Initially, we did think that this job probably would be very difficult for the ladies. You have to move in the night, and the necessity may arise any time in the wild. You have to travel many times alone and handle situations alone in the wild, But we started employing them a few years back in the real forestry assignments, and this has proved to be really a great success. They're quite innovative. They're quite improvising also in their efforts, particularly in rescues and all, where you are left alone in the nature and the resources available to you are limited, and the problem that you are facing is really difficult.
This is perhaps the only women's brigade involved in the direct wildlife management of big cats. It's a sisterhood, and there's nothing else like this in the world. Rasila herself is a trailblazer. She was one of the first women to join the Forest Department. And to begin with, she was assigned a desk job, but she had other plans. Rasila soon requested a posting to the rescue centre.
कोई सपोर्ट नहीं करता है। वो बोल रहे हैं कि लड़कियां क्या कर सकती है, लायन लेपर्ड है, वो वाइल्ड एनिमल है, तो उसको लगता है कि उसके साथ तो ये काम नहीं कर सकती। मेरे को लगा कि ठीक है, मैं एक लड़की हूँ तो लड़की बन के क्यों काम करूँ? मैं एक लड़का बन के उसके साथ काम करूँ तो कोई मुझे मना ही नहीं करेगा। तो अब जब मैं काम कर रही हूँ तो मैं ऐसा नहीं सोच रही हूँ कि मैं एक लड़की हूँ। बस एक लड़का बन के ही उसके सामने खड़ी रहती हूँ और उसके सामने वो लड़का बन के ही मैं काम करती हूँ। तो अभी वो मुझे सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं कि ठीक है, लड़की है तो भी वो काम कर सकती है।
Life has never been easy for Rasila. She lost her father very early on, which, as the eldest daughter, put responsibility for supporting the entire family on her shoulders.
This is Rasila's home village, and it's quite clear she didn't come from any kind of privileged background. And being here just brings it home to me, the kind of grit and sheer determination it's taken for her to become a senior officer in the Forest Guard.
Okay.
Today, as head of the rescue team, she has 14 men working under her, and rescuing lions, leopards, pythons, and other dangerous animals is just part of her job. Earlier, Rasila had received a report of a leopard holed up in a house in a nearby village. She can't go herself, so we're going with one of her trusted lieutenants, Kiran Pathija. Along the way, we have to stop and get precise directions to the village. When we arrive, a huge crowd of people has already gathered, which is going to make this rescue even more tricky. Kiran quickly sizes up the situation. First, she tries to see the leopard for herself. She catches a glimpse, but it's obvious the animal is almost completely buried amongst a mountain of bric-a-brac. Whilst the rescue team prepare the dart gun, Kiran talks to the owner.
जब दीपड़ा आया ना तो वो तो साफ कर रही थी बराबर तो डर के मारे बाहर निकल गई।
She reassures him that he and his family have nothing to worry about, and the rescue team will soon rid them of their unwanted guest.
हमारी कोशिश भी ये
Then she turns to the crowd, asking them to keep a safe distance back and not to create any disturbance.
कुछ नहीं करेंगे, बस आप लोगों को ना बिना कुछ आवाज नहीं कर रही है, वरना बिना वजह वो थोड़ा डिस्टर्ब हो जाएगा तो हमें भी परेशानी होगी, उसे भी परेशानी होगी, इस वजह से आपको भी परेशानी होगी, तो मेहरबानी करके ना आप लोग कुछ हल्ला मत करो, ओके?
The leopard is inside an old storage room of the house. The whole area is filled with old furniture, unused drums and large stacks of hay. Plenty of hiding places for a cornered animal. The rescue team is faced with a huge logistical problem. The only way to dart the leopard is through a small grilled window to the side of the room. But they struggle to get a clear line of sight. The leopard is almost completely hidden, making a clean shot extremely difficult. He's missed. The crowd are getting more and more rowdy, and the officers are finding it increasingly difficult to restrain them. This is threatening to get out of hand, and meanwhile, the leopard is still at large. A leopard has become trapped inside a house in a small village. This is actually a fairly common event here in India's Gir National Park because the wildlife and humans live in very close proximity. The wildlife rescue team are struggling to extract the leopard unhurt from an increasingly tense situation in the village. Their first shot with a tranquilizing dart failed to hit the mark. So now they must try again. Why has the leopard come into the village in the first place? The weather in the west of India is often hot, but recently temperatures have been unusually high. Everyone is feeling the heat. Leopards often seek places to lie out away from the heat of the day, and this one may have thought the inside of the house would offer a cool retreat. But now it's surrounded and frightened. The leopard is extremely well armed and potentially very dangerous. Once again, Praveen, the sharpshooter from the rescue team, takes aim. But still, the animal only offers a half-hidden and constantly moving target. He misses again, and the leopard appears to hide even deeper amongst the debris in the room. Kiran now tries to prise the leopard out of its hiding place, but it's no good. With each passing minute, the crowd is swelling. The entire neighbourhood wants to watch this drama unfold. It's getting difficult for Kiran and her teams to keep the crowds at bay. She climbs up onto the roof of the barn to try to get a better idea of where the animal is now hiding. And then the leopard is spotted again. A third dart is fired. And to everyone's relief, it looks as if it's hit the mark. Is the leopard finally sedated? Or is it simply lying low, ready to spring out and attack? At last, it becomes clear the dart has done its work. The leopard is unconscious, and the team can attempt to carry it out of the building. Kiran's team will have a difficult job trying to get the leopard out of the barn with a huge crowd of people outside, all jostling and pushing to get a peek at the animal. team cautiously makes its way into the barn. The leopard is slowly brought out and placed in the cage. Dr. Solanki injects it with an antidote and the door is quickly shut before it comes round. Now the leopard can be taken to the rescue centre. When they arrive, it turns out that the village leopard is not alone. There are, astonishingly, 8 other leopards already here. What is going on? Gir boasts a large and thriving population of around 500 leopards. I saw more leopards here in one day than I've seen in the whole of the rest of my life. Now, these leopards fall down dry wells, they hide out in cultivation and fields, they get stuck in villages, all of which means work for the rescue team.
Now, every single one of these leopards will be released, but before they're released, they'll have a microchip fitted so they can be identified very quickly if they're ever caught again. The microchip is fitted in the leopard's tail. Now, that's easy to say, isn't it? But I'm not sure the leopard's going to be very happy about that.
Rasila's team wheel out the first of the holding cages. And with a bit of encouragement, the leopard is transferred into what's known as a squeeze cage. Anaesthetising or sedating any animal comes with a degree of risk. Whereas the squeeze cage, in the hands of practiced experts like Rasila's team, is very fast and keeps any risk to the animal to a minimum. Once the leopard is held, Dr. Kamani and his assistant Praveen get down to work. The whole job of examining the leopard and giving it medication is over in moments. Then, the unique identifying microchip is inserted just above the tail. It's checked to see if it's working, and then the animal is released from its short confinement. Once back in its holding cage, the first leopard is rolled away and the next animal is wheeled in. None of the leopards seem particularly cowed by what's going on. In fact, their one idea seems to be to get at their benefactors and do a bit of damage. It's astonishing to see just how smoothly the whole operation works, like a well-oiled machine. Clearly, Rasila's team know exactly what they're doing. One by one, the leopards are checked over and microchipped. The details are carefully noted so that individual animals can be identified in the future.
68350.
To my surprise, all 8 leopards were examined and chipped in less than 1 hour. All these leopards will be returned to the wild. Somewhere out here, there's a lioness and 3 cubs. Rasila and her team are looking for it. Suddenly, I realise there are lions all around our vehicles.